Welcome back to the Marching Arts Network podcast. I am the Stressmaster.
And I am the Tumor. And as I say every week, it's because I marched spot B9, not because I'm malignant. Shout out to all my Tumor homies.
That's right. And we also have our special guest back again, Miss Jen.
Hello.
Dinky. How are you doing?
Good. How are you?
Rocking and rolling. So we're gathered here to pay tribute to a corps that is no longer here in existence, but they've left a legacy that is undeniable, mainly because of the vision behind, I think mostly the vision behind not only drill design, but also changing the way that drum corps was at that time and really evolving it into something that the activity I don't think was ready for when it happened. But I think now it's like common, like everybody's doing what this corps started, and mainly George Zingali with his visual interpretation of music and motion together. We're going to see that in some examples.
Yeah.
But
I had the privilege of seeing the 1987 Garfield Cadets, and like I said, up to then, we'd gotten rid of the tick system in the early 80s. We started to see some curvilinear drill. We've seen some movement and dance in color guard. But the idea of that same movement and dance within the brass and the percussion sections, and also the front ensemble as well. I mean, don't forget, there was they haven't always bobbed and weaved like they do now. They used to be very rigid, and there was something about visually, and I think we're going to watch a bit of 87. So there was something about, I think that the cadets uniform itself, the lines on that uniform just seemed to really accentuate the body movement that the brass and percussion players were doing. And it was just such a foreign concept. So when you look at the age old battle of 87 Santa Clara Vanguard or 87 Garfield Cadets, I always say to people, Santa Clara was great, but Garfield was on a completely different planet. So and I'm just so privileged to have been able to see that live. And on another note, before I stop about them, the sound that they put out on that field, I mean, they had a beautiful sonority to that brass line. If you actually saw the brass instruments up close, it was you'd look at it and go, how the hell is that sound coming out of those instruments? I mean, there was nickel plated, silver plated, chrome plated, there was duct tape. I saw, I kid you not, a piston rotor contrabass that literally had rope holding it together. So to me, that is just the game changer drum corps right there. That to me is the drum corps that changed the activity forever.
I'll chime in. At the age of 9 or 10 or whatever, 84 was my first finals, my first live finals. My brothers were marching in freelancers that year, and it was getting to see. It's not just getting to see Garfield at the time; it was getting to hear Garfield at the time. And I was raised on West Side Story, so that was just a huge show for me. And I always go back to that mellophone soloist as that's like one of the first huge impact moments I had in drum corps. That soloist was just just reverberating throughout the stadium. It's just such a plaintive solo, the 2 times I think that she played. And it's just, there is no other corps that at the time that was evoking that kind of emotion, I think. And really,
it was a big deal that she was a she as well back then.
That's you. Yes.
Yeah, and what's even more impressive, which we're going to see on the video, she only had one arm.
Yes.
She had a prosthetic on the other, so she was holding the horn with the prosthetic and playing with her right. So that was also impressive too. So and not that it matters, but I mean she soloed several years, I think 83 and 84, and amazing. Just tone quality and blend it with the ensemble was just crazy. I mean, and so before we talk too much more about it, why don't we get into it and actually watch them? And then, like I said earlier, there's moments in here. Whoops, sorry, my cameras were doing weird stuff. There's moments in here that you're gonna see and go, wait a second, I've seen that in 90 something, and then actually started in 80 something. You know, just these different things. So it was really eye opening for me because I got to see things and like, oh, that's where that started. Oh, that's where that came from. Oh, that's what. And it's just crazy that now the activity does this as commonplace. You know, it's just kind of really weird. All right, so we're gonna watch the compilation. So what I tried to do is you gave me some suggestions, and I put them in. The only year I could not find, which seems to be really weird, was 2015. For some reason, nobody has a video of that anywhere. I don't know if it was copyright issues or what. There is a small clip I was able to find. So that's in there. But I mean, we're starting back in 83. I put up on the screen as we start each year, their score, their placement, and then their repertoire is on there as well. So you guys will all see that. Hopefully I got it right. Hopefully I didn't mess anything up because I was really tired when I was doing this late last night. Here we go.
So, all right, go on.
Go ahead.
So you have nothing from 2015 at all?
I do. I have a small copy. They loved close-ups in the 80s.
Yes.
All these videos is like close-ups of the cymbal player, close-ups of the bell. It's like, I want to see the drill.
I always find right foot lead so weird as well.
I know. So I kind of tried to do little pieces throughout the show, so we're not just watching one section.
There she is.
Oh, listen to that vibrato.
The fact that she could get that tone out of that bugle, out of that element.
I would say, though, to be fair, the G bugles play so open, though.
Do they? Okay.
Yeah, they play much more open than a traditional B flat instrument.
Oh yeah, so much easier to play. Less
Really?
resistance. Less resistance. It's a bigger bore. It's a little bit bigger.
Interesting.
Yeah.
See, there, girl.
They make average players sound like gods.
Yeah. So, unfortunately, when they made this video, they have so many close-ups, you miss the ending of the show, which has the most important thing in history. And you don't get to see it; you just get to kind of see it.
We'll go back and watch my last video. I've got about 3 or 4 Z pulls in that one.
Yeah, there's the people right there, but you can't.
There it is. Yeah.
Just gonna put it up here somewhere.
Oh, got this show.
Now I'm gonna cry. Ugh.
This is probably the most beautiful show. Just.
Funny though about West Side Story, because you think of West Side Story and you think of cadets. That's just what you think of. But the 87 Skywriters did a beautiful version of West Side as well, but they did a completely different take on it.
I loved this color guard. It was just.
There's one point.
These little callbacks, these back and forths that they do, these little breakaways, that is so like Garfield, so connected.
In stereo.
Throughout several productions, they carry it through so many different arrangements.
Yeah, what's so interesting about that is they're on the left and right, different sides of the field, so it's in stereo.
Yeah.
So and when you're listening to it on your speakers, it goes left and right, left and right, left and right.
Yes.
It's so cool.
I have all these years on vinyl still.
At least you don't have an 8-track.
I know, right?
Oh my gosh, that blend. Here you get to see the Z pole.
Something I noticed as well is that the patch on their shoulder changed every time they changed their name.
Good.
Always like this set up into the Z pole as well.
Yeah.
Tell you what, drum corps crowds were just different back then, weren't they?
Yes, they were.
Throwing stuff.
Just from a color guard perspective in these years, it's kind of hard to talk about guard because we were still guarded at this point in time. They had only just started to really integrate guard as a storytelling element.
Where have we seen that move before? This is where that move started. Wow, this is not close-ups. Let's do close-up of smashing symbols together. They were fascinated with the cymbal players in cadets that year. This corps got a 98.4, but this show is I don't remember the show at all.
Oh, I do.
I was there.
But listen to the mellophone licks. This is where the mellophone licks really started for cadets. They had some in 84, but this is really where it was. The crowd's into it, but man, if they start clapping out of time, oh my god. The disconnect forms, reconnect forms. Watch this part's good. Inside of form.
Almost a Z pole as well.
Yeah.
I I think for guard, the real sea change was, I think it was 87. It was Persia. Christy Templin was there.
Yeah, look at the footwork. Look at the feet work.
This guard, God bless them, this guard, all they did was hold their skirts the whole time. In fact, their rifle line, when the rifle line spun, I don't think they actually threw a tumbles. They did grapple. It's a strange guard, but they get all the props because of their soloists. And pretty nice skirts.
This is the show that brings me to tears.
Really?
Were they this loud when you saw them live?
They're loud. They're a really loud drummer.
I know, I really didn't have to manipulate them.
Yeah.
On finals night, they just turned it up. On finals night 87, they noticeably turned it up. You know what I mean? As far as the intensity, the volume, everything.
Hate these slides. Sorry.
Greatest drill move from George Zingali in the room right here.
Can we see that again? Hold on, before we go on. So much to look at.
Pause it for a second, Justin.
So before we go on, the thing that kills me is you see that dissolving company front so many more times. It's such a beautiful move. Like, and you saw it just as recently as the as Boston Crusaders.
Yeah.
Did it, and it's so effective. But for them to come back into the company front as if it just moved forward, it's and you're seeing the beginning of all of that horn line body work.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was saying. In
slow-mo move and all of that stuff, and for the fact that they were doing that stuff and being rewarded for it, and my gosh, it's just, and they really that kind of peaked for them in '89 with Les Mis, but it was so effective, and that was such a call sign for Garfield and for Cadets of Bernstein.
Yeah, so when talking about George Zingali, I mean, not to take anything away from the Cross to Cross. The Cross to Cross at Star of Indiana was an absolute masterpiece of drill writing. I think that my personal opinion is that the dissolving company front 87 Garfield is probably the most, I don't want to say innovative. To me, it's my favorite move that he ever wrote. And is it the hardest? By no means. The Cross to Cross smashes it 8 days a week as far as difficulty is concerned. But as far as effectiveness is concerned, the way that they bring it into the company front, you think, here we go. And I mean, they give you the company front for less than a count before it starts to dissolve. Obviously, it reforms itself in an exact mirror image. But then the other thing is well in there, and I think that it's really possibly the most overlooked part of the whole maneuver. What a maneuver! Is the 2-count hold in the middle of the whole dissolving company front when they stop for 2 counts and bring the horns up with the music. It's just so visually and musically effective. I think it's an absolute masterpiece of a bit of drill writing, and it's been copied thousands of times since.
Yeah, I think what it really did is it kind of, and that was kind of, I think once Zingali got there, he got there, what, 83, right? Because he left,
Yeah.
He left 27 in 80 after 82. He really flipped the activity on its head, and like it said, look, we're going to do things completely different, like we've never done in the last 40 years that we've been doing, or 60 or whatever the years were.
Well, we took the shackles off from the tick system. Is what we did.
Yeah. But I mean, if you watch his drill, it's very organic, just the way it kind of moves and flows and kind of does this kind of stuff to it. And we were used to this, very angular, static, straight lines and stuff like that. And they really kind of flipped it on its end. Okay, so here we go.
Wasn't he the gatekeeper, like the asymmetrical drill? Didn't he kick that wall down to symmetrical drill? And one of the innovators of asymmetrical. Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. So when the tick system went away, I mean, Garfield, you look at the difference between 82 and 83 Garfield, it's night and day. The thing is as well about one final thing I'd say about Zingali's drill writing is that when you look at any corps or band or whatever that he's written for, whether it's since the tick system, really. So whether it's Garfield, whether it's Blue Knights, whether it's Star of Indiana, there's always movement somewhere. There's very, very rarely a dead stop of absolutely nothing going on, which I think leads back into what Justin was saying, is that visually it just feels so organic. It feels like you're looking at a living mechanism as opposed to just pictures on a field.
Yeah. Now, this is also an innovation. No one's ever done this really since. I don't think anybody's ever done it other than them. So this part coming up here. So here we go. I had to turn the volume down because it was so loud. I couldn't hear you guys at all. That whole last section. So I'm glad we stopped. So they end the show and then they re-end the show.
Yeah. Just listen to the crowd at the end, though. They don't make drum corps crowds like this anymore.
Oh my God, so loud. This is one of my all-time favorite shows of theirs.
We did Les Mis in 2018 at Kids Grove Scouts. I was blown away when we found out we were doing it.
I literally fangirl after any guard member from this year. Like when I meet one in a conversation or a chat thread or something. Oh.
Their dynamics in this show is just crazy. Little car bumpery sounding there. That's okay.
I go see Les Mis anytime it's in St. Louis, and it's because of this production. This is what introduced me to Les Mis.
And this is something no one's ever done, ever. They have two different things going on, two different songs, really, two different tempos, and they mesh them perfectly. You can hear the two different things going on. Anyone's ever attempted that again.
Yeah. How many programs did this later?
Pause it for a second.
Pause.
Yeah, I'm gonna turn this down. It's way too loud. I can't even hear you guys talking.
Can't hear us.
Oh my God.
So going back to the warp, funny little story that a lot of people know. So freelancers, we had this tradition that we did every year where where the brass line would play a trick on the staff, and we would always do it in finals week. And for us, it was the warp. We had a part of our show where we had da 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 da. Went straight into the warp. And I just remember John Zimney about falling off of the scaffolding. He was laughing so hard.
Oh, that's
but we did the warp and then went straight back into the show. So we'd actually kind of practiced it and everything. It was
funny.
Yeah.
Didn't we also do the go ahead. Sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say from '89 after I saw that, because they came in 5th place, right? So after I saw that, I was like, that's it. I'm going to cadets. That's awesome. I'm doing that. And then regiment came on in '89. I was like, oh nope, going to regiment. Sorry, cadets.
That was a fan of Regiment '89. Oh my God.
Yeah.
But I think in didn't 91 where they did that little foot thing where they did the little, like where they put their right leg up and they kind of did the little with their leg.
Oh yeah.
That was nice. And we did that in 91. Yeah. It's during God, what part was that in? It was during a halt. I can't remember where it was, but we're not watching that show today because we're not watching 91. It's in 1991. Cadets, they do this like little thing where they lift their right leg up and they kind of do this little visual with their foot to match the music. It was really weird.
Yeah.
Anyway, okay, here we go. We ready to continue forward?
Yep, crack on.
All right, here we go. This is another show that I for some reason I almost missed it, and I'm like, well, wait a second, they won in '90. I gotta put it in here.
It's
yes,
because
my staff came from this. My staff came from this year.
There's Justin. There's a very specific reason that you missed this show. It's because we were so pissed off that we missed finals that I don't think half of us even went to the stadium that day.
Yeah. What's funny though is like I was watching this show, and this is actually a really good show. It's kind of just like a best of, kind of a show, which is it turned out really nice. Here we go. Some really cool visuals. I don't think there was anybody in '90 that was. I don't know. Maybe who do you think could have? Who was the second? I don't remember.
Star of Indiana should have won in '90.
Oh, that's right. They got. Yeah. You're right. They were in second.
Regiment was 4th that year.
Yeah, I think you're right. Star should have won.
Star should have won by a long shot. The judges just didn't know what the hell to do with them that year.
I love the fake rifle throw.
Yeah, Star's horn line in '90. Oh my gosh, they were just insanity.
He's still my beating heart.
Yeah, I listened to a judge's tape. I have it on my. This is. This is a good
I'm
one.
sorry. I roll my eyes a little bit because I cannot handle overly done pantomime. I just can't.
Yeah.
But I was going to plug my Star of Indiana tribute video. If you haven't seen it, go watch it. All right, shall we continue forward?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, I had to do a shameless plug for my other video.
And then I ruined it.
Psych.
They're so good at these end to end.
My favorite show of all time. I'm going to turn this down even more because they're so dang loud on the show.
I love every single second of this show. Steve Prosser, I'm insanely jealous.
Yeah. And if you haven't seen that video, go watch that video. I just posted that last week, I think. Stephen Prosser, I did an interview with him about this show.
I just adore every second of this show.
Yeah, this is so wonderful. I love this partner work. It's so cool. So crazy.
Talk about dance and just interpretation of movement. It's like crazy in this show.
This new dance style they had, that started with 90. And I don't know if that was who came in and started that, but their take on modern interpretive is just beautiful. Starting in 90 and moving forward.
This whole show, just for me, was just kind of like, just perfect. It was a perfect show.
For those who don't know, this piece was actually written for British competitive brass band. And it's something that if you don't know much about YouTube and enjoy a trip down that rabbit hole.
They're just like nonstop running in this entire show. There's one guy that's running around the whole outside right there, like the guy right there. He just ran around the entire side to the back there. Crazy.
Took velocity to a whole new level.
Oh my god, I'm gonna pause for a second.
Yeah, sure.
Golly.
I've been fighting my life the whole time because it died. Sorry, I've been fiddling this whole time.
Yeah.
They started screen printing those flags as early as 92. Those cloud flags were the first flags I remembered in my memory being screen printed. And everything's screen printed now. Everything. There's not a seam to be found anywhere. And they were one of the first. We were joking around that while they had lightweight screen printed flags, the rest of us were, swinging laundry bags full of LeMay.
Yeah, I was going to say, so you marched 91 freelancers, yeah?
No.
Or was it, what year was it you marched?
92.
92, okay.
92, yeah.
Because I remember 91 we had cloud flags, but I guess maybe they were airbrushed, I don't know.
Maybe, yeah.
They were
airbrushing
airbrushed.
still happening.
Were they?
Yeah, they were airbrushed. Yeah, for the Cadillac of the Skies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One of my favorite pieces.
Yes, that's a beautiful piece.
That's one of my favorite movies.
Oh no, Cadillac of the Skies is 89. What was 91?
89 was Cadillac of the Skies.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't think the Guard did any flag work in that. I think it was purely dance that.
Was it purely movement? 89 had some of the best Guard uniforms, hands down. I loved those black and white dresses. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, the reason why I wanted to stop because 92 was just a crazy year because they were just and when I was talking to Steven about it, Steven Prosser, he said like they just had so many injuries because people were like, because they're literally running and playing these licks. and just
Yeah.
like everybody was getting sick and hurting themselves and stuff like that. They had holes like most of their shows because
It was an
people
insanely
injured.
athletic show.
Yeah.
God,
You know, I'm going to
Jesus.
touch back really quick on 87 Cadets because you said nobody's ended like that before. I take exception to that 2010 Phantom Regiment Into the Light. They
Yes.
ran off into the tunnel, leaving the soloists on the field.
Well,
And I would argue that I would argue that I would actually argue that that was more effective as well.
Well, that's because they had a tunnel.
Yeah.
And that
That's true.
and Cadets then touched again a little bit in that kind of exit corner 2 years ago when they went off way backfield during the ballad and then turned around and came forward again. It was so effective. And if you have that on here, I'll talk about it then. It's just one of my favorite moments.
What year is that? 21?
22.
22. I don't have
22.
22 on here.
Yeah.
I couldn't fit everything. But we are going to watch
know,
23. Right? We are going to watch 23 once we're done with this compilation.
Okay.
Oh, let's crack on.
Last show. All right, let's crack on. All right, here we go. Use a Britishism. This is also one of my favorite shows.
Yeah, love it.
Such a
So
good show.
I had great friends that were in this guard too. So it's very personal to me.
Again, another piece of music that was written for a British brass band.
Yeah, whole singer, dude.
Such a great guard.
Oh my god.
Okay, the flying line is so clean.
Oh, that's the first time anybody had ever done that.
The big contingency of this guard went off and did Blast in its inaugural years too.
Right. That last section that we watched, the thing that was impressed me though is that not only was the flag work itself extremely demanding, but the physical demand of the drill as well. On top of that was unreal, and it was clean.
Yeah.
Oh, she was my friend. Blanking her name right now. She was such a lovely human.
What are those bells called? Handbells. Handbells. Yeah, their dance is just crazy in these years, man.
It's really good.
Their movement skills were just crazy good. I'm going to stop briefly at the end of this one. I know. So good. And the mellophone really crashed.
Just so fast.
Pause just for a second. Okay. I gotta take a breath.
Okay.
My God.
There's a lot to unpack with that show. And people don't talk about this show a lot.
It's such a good show. It's like the mood, the theme, the visual, the color is just perfect. I mean, it's just a great show. If you just want to see, I want to watch a drum corps show. That's one of the shows you want to watch.
Have you done a Who Shoulda Won between them and Star of Indiana?
No, we've talked about it though.
That would be interesting because for those that liked current drum corps as it was, this was the show that should have won. But you reward Star of Indiana for the risks and the innovation that they have with their show because nobody had done that. So,
I think the problem that we'd have though, Jen, is that we'd actually both want to defend Star of Indiana.
Yeah, right. So I think Cadets won, Star came in second, right?
Yeah,
correct.
Yeah. So I'd like to say that in third place is Phantom Regiment. We are sadly the only corps left from that year.
Going back to that, though, I mean, I
Yeah.
think that the big issue between Cadets and Star that year was simply the fact that Star had, first off, Star, they were only in existence for 9 years, and made finals all 9 times.
Mhm.
But they were very, very, very innovative. Which
Star's a whole
comes,
other show.
yeah. And that video's up here, by the way, somewhere.
Right.
But yeah, the thing is with Star of Indiana, though, is that I think that the big issue with them was the same issue that they had in '93, is that the judges just didn't know how to judge them. They didn't know what they were seeing.
Yeah.
It was just so different from anything that we'd ever seen prior to that,
Mhm.
I
never really. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Especially 93. I mean, 93, it was one of those situations of that show was probably 20 years ahead of its time.
Oh,
and
yeah, it was.
That show would stand up today.
Yeah. I don't think I ever actually saw that show because we were always so like one right after the other or something like that, that I was either at the gate or loading flags in a truck. So I don't think I ever actually got to see that show live start to finish. And I saw a video of their alumni corps in 2010, and they basically recreated a huge section of that. The guard was in the same costuming, doing the same work, all this stuff. And I was just like, holy crap, was that going on the field when I was loading the truck? Holy moly.
Perhaps we need to do a deep dive on that show in one of these episodes, in fact, I'll make that my next episode. I'll do a deep dive on 93 Star. But the thing is the thing about that show is that it's a show that leaves you wanting. And what I mean by that is that it starts at a certain level, and 11 and a half minutes later, it ends at an absolute peak. But there's parts throughout the show where you think there's going to be a peak, and it's like, no, we're not going to give that to you just yet.
Yeah. And then we
start up here. Yeah.
Which just goes the whole time. This is a show that has moved the entire time.
Yeah. I mean, what I do have to say in defense of the Cadets is they were cleaner than Star.
No,
Star
no
was
question.
great. They were great. They were innovative, but they were not. And maybe we don't need to do verses, but as innovative as they were, you still have to be clean in what you're doing. You still have to have the cleanliness. They had the cleanliness. Cadets did.
And this is a year in which guard really played a role in general effect across the board. When we really started saying, okay, guard isn't just a separate thing that maybe influences something. It really influences at this point in time. And to have cadets do what they did, this was their peak guard. I think this was the best guard they put out during the 90s. And what they did, they carried the story of the show. So you can't, that's undeniable GE.
Exactly. And the reason why I wanted to stop is because this is kind of, when we get to 2000, a lot of things happened in DCI.
It starts to get weird.
We have electronics. We have no longer G bugles. We have B flat bugles or horns. And then also this is the start of the annoying voiceovers that drive me up the wall. So this show, even though we got first place, we're going to hear some of that stuff happening. So buckle in, everybody. Here we go.
All right.
Electronics. I'm going to turn this down. I think I recorded this way too loud. This is We Are the Future. What I find interesting is like video starting in like the mid 90s, like 91, 92, 93 is horrible. And if you watch the old 80s shows, they're much better.
How bad was the lighting in that stadium?
I was just about to say, what was wrong with the lighting? It was so dark backfield.
Everything.
Where was this in 2000?
I don't even know.
Annapolis, Maryland.
That was so blisteringly loud.
That was so loud.
Turn it down a bit.
Sorry. When I was editing, it doesn't seem as but this is a hell of a... I don't ever remember seeing the show. This is a cool move right here. You unwind it and then you rewind it on the other side.
Yeah, the end of this show is great.
Most cavalier looking drill I've ever seen cadets do.
This is per your request.
This is one of my favorite. So pause it for 1 second, Justin.
All right.
So Jen, I'm going to ask you this here. The reason I asked for this specifically is that the thing I love about this whole show. So this is 2002. The show's an American revival. Obviously, we're coming up onto the 1-year anniversary of 9/11. Patriotism is obviously at an all-time high in America. And the question I would ask from a visual perspective is the Guard. It's almost like the Guard was put into a time machine back to the 40s. So you look at not just how they dance, but also how they move and how they interact with each other. How hard is that to teach?
It is hard. And I have a few questions about this show. I wonder if they had a different show in mind, and then scrapped it to do this. Sometimes I wonder with these reaction shows in the aftermath of something. This show, I have issues with the show. I love it. It's great. They're wonderful. It's an excellent drum corps, but I've seen this show, especially from a Guard perspective. They've done this before, including the blocks, including the dance hall, including everything. They are very good at this kind of show. And again, it just all of my pantomime issues, like it's too big. So I kind of freak out about overacting. I freaked out about Crown last year with overacting. I can't handle it. It is so hard to teach this kind of swing dance if you don't have it in your body. So it is something like I've tried to learn how to swing dance, and I was a dancer, and I just cannot get that kind of hunch and that groove and that swagger. It doesn't exist in me. And so they're very good at featuring the people they can do it and hiding the people that can't do it. So
I never thought of it that way.
Yes. So they put the three that are really good, like the three that are being the Andrews sisters, as we'll probably see in this section. They're really good. And some of the guys are really good. And so they're front and center, and the rest of them are kind of moving props and doing flag work and all this stuff. So it's about featuring the people that can and hiding the people that can't.
The thing I like about this show is that this show was just purely about feels,
Absolutely.
It wasn't about placement. It was about feels. It was about a snapshot of a specific time in America. So,
yeah, this dance hall scene is amazing because that's what I call it, the big band dance hall scene, because the horn line is so good.
Oh, the horn line just rips people's faces off here.
Yeah.
Go on,
exactly.
Then. All right. Here we go.
Love that move too.
Little prance step kind of thing.
Yeah, it's cool.
nice rifles. My
Like
gosh,
that.
that's good.
I'm always impressed with that kind of stuff. I have vertigo, so I can't do things like that on boxes and platforms. Mm-mm.
This show is so trippy.
I don't know this show.
And people either love it or hate it.
What year is it?
It-
Oh, this is
2005.
The Zone. Welcome to the Zone.
Okay.
Where they have like the uniform on the back of their uniform, so when they're turned around, it looks like the Shaco's facing back. Like,
Can I
the
point
whole-
out this score
I've
got
only
it?
seen this one twice.
Can I point out this score? This course scored a 99.015, something like that. It was ridiculous.
Cadets,
Yeah.
you may take the field for
So is that the second highest score?
Yeah.
Behind Dee.
Yeah, they were the first ones to break 99. It's really hard in this video because in the 2000s, apparently video sucked. Even though in the 80s and 70s, you could see everything.
Key of imagination, beyond another
Here you go.
dimension.
Yeah, welcome to the
exciting sound, but of mind. Next
Welcome to the
stop,
aughts.
The Zone.
Took us a while to figure out how to use electronics properly.
Yeah.
They had a,
This
they
is
had a
like
show
the precursor to Stranger Things.
Yeah.
Oh, this show gets even stranger if we're watching the percussion feature.
Yeah, I don't think we get in the percussion feature here. Maybe we do. Maybe we do.
This is the show with the spoken word percussion feature.
Oh gosh.
I don't know if I included that. They did some really innovative stuff in this show, though, I gotta say.
Like this
They
piece
really
of
went-
music.
They really went with the Twilight Zone theme and really
Oh, for sure.
knocked it out of the park.
I'm still not sure what I watched.
It's better. I'm sure it's better live because this video doesn't do it justice. But look, I mean, look at the cadet. Look at the cadet backward, and they have their hand behind them to make it look like they're
Right.
standing. It's just crazy.
That is trippy. Was this at the height of like Japanese horror? That's
This
what
is
it
the
reminds
percussion
me
feature,
of.
by the way.
Gosh, those tenors. God dang.
I miss having judges on the field.
Really?
I don't.
I don't.
I'm glad they're not there. It's distracting.
Did you ever take one out in your time, Justin?
Sorry, what?
Did you ever get a judge in your time?
No. Speaking of a judge,
You're right.
One of my favorite endings ever. Just look how fast. 205 beats a minute, by the way.
thing was officially clocked at 202.6.
What was it?
Yeah, I got this from a compilation of like the fastest cadet ending.
That's evil.
Everyone, bring it in.
This is
Stand
2021.
up straight.
That's right.
Unfortunately, yeah, go ahead.
I consider this an untouchable song. I just don't think anybody should touch. It's one of those songs that should have his jersey retired in the rafters, you know, like
Yeah.
Exactly, you know. Nobody does it better than the cadets.
Vanguard has
will.
this nasty habit of taking cadets classics and vanguarding them. Appalachian Spring, Les
Les
Misérables.
Mis. Yeah. I did not hate Vanguard's Les Mis, but it
wasn't the same.
It wasn't the same. Yeah.
No, because 89 Cadets was Les Mis, and it was purely power and emotion, and it was raw. And the story of Les Mis is raw. It's not produced. It's just a gritty, grimy story, and the Cadets of Bergen County, as they were then, brought that to the field in '89. Yeah. So
and you look at like West Side Story, and you talk about like 87 Skywriters. 87 Skywriters had to go straight Broadway, which is what they did. They did
a completely different take.
They did it with Wizard of the Oz too. I mean, that was Skywriter's shtick, is that they reproduced the story on the field, and so they were able to take West Side Story because they did it so literally and make it their own. Whereas if someone else had come in and tried to do like a West Side Story at what the style of Garfield at the time, it's just, you're like, ooh, you shouldn't touch that. Yeah. Even Garfield 94, even Cadets 94 was a little like, should you be doing this? And it was their own show. So
yeah, and I think Blue Devils did an interesting take on it when they did the modern versus the old. It was like what was that called? What was that show called? It was 98. Dang it, what was it called? Someone tell me in the comments, because I can't remember.
Yeah, I remember watching it once. 98 really good was show. The year I blanked out. I took a good 10-year break.
I was actually at finals that year. It was great show. I was there 96 and 98, which is interesting, but I ended up at DCI that year. Okay, that was a lot to unpack.
Some of my favorites weren't on that list. So.
Oh well, sorry.
Oh well.
You could have chimed in, but
I tried.
I know, but if
I'm not getting in the middle of this.
I know. I didn't see any requests.
Well, you had already put this list together, so who was I to say re-edit your list? But I do want to shout out my honorable mention of 91's Ballad. I will always go back and watch it. That ballad, it is a tearjerker. What?
No thanks.
Yeah,
the wood block through the whole freaking.
Is there a wood block? I tune out all that stuff. I'm talking from a guard perspective. It's beautiful. It's like this coming of age story, and
it's beautiful.
Poor Jonathan, he gets a girl in the end.
I get 16 counts into the wood block, and that's it. I'm done.
Well, then mute it and watch the color guard.
But you can't really, because the thing is, the wood block is actually part of the original piece.
It is the original piece.
So they are true to the original piece, and that's how they got away with not getting a penalty as well.
Every corps has good and not so good, years, but their quality is always the same, right? They always try to do the same quality of show, and I think that's kind of where. And people, and if you're younger, what I mean by younger is you weren't alive during these years, go back and watch the full shows, because you're going to get a new perspective on what drum corps is today. Because all of this, and it wasn't just cadets, there was other corps too, like Phantom, Santa Clara, Blue Devils. They all have influenced the activity. But at this pivotal moment, especially in the 80s, 83, 84, 85, those 3 years, they flipped drum corps around and completely changed the activity for what we have today. We wouldn't have drum corps the way it is today if it wasn't for those years.
Yeah, I think there's certain periods in time, 83, 84, 85, were transitional, not just for the cadets, but for the entire activity. And then you had certain corps, as I've said, and I stick my guns out. I stick to my guns on this. 87 cadets were a game changer for the activity. They came out and just said, "Hey, this is a new way of doing drum corps." Okay, yes, I know that their guard wasn't the most dynamic, Jen, but as far as overall show design, that was a game changer. And then you move forward into the 90s. I would say probably 93, 94, 95 were again game changers, and then we kind of hit the desert until Santa Clara Vanguard in 99 in their championship show, which I don't think they should have tied Blue Devils, and I'm a Blue Devils fan, by the way. So
the one thing about all versions of cadets is that, especially from the mid 80s until the mid 90s, is how robust and dense their music arrangement books are. From the back and forth, from stereo arrangements to tempo alignment to meshing, song mashes that aren't meant to be, they did so much robust stuff. So you could hear just all these layers of music. That just makes it it's just such a symphonic sound. And I'm sorry I'm saying symphonic about another drum corps, but they were just, nobody was doing what they were doing when it came to the music arrangement. And it's such a beauty to listen to, that they've had this style that has followed and tracked all through the years when it comes to music arrangement. Despite who's doing it, they stay with this it's their legacy, and they stay with that. So you can always tell when you're listening to a Cadets book.
Exactly. And I think that influenced Star a lot, actually. When they first came out, they had kind of a similar sound. If you listen to like the 85, 86 years, and then they kind of switched gears a little bit and went a little bit different. But you can
that 91 book is pretty similar. That 91 book, stylistically,
Star had a very East Coast sound, because they picked. I know when they came out in '85, I believe they had a bunch of staff from 2-7 that came over to them in '85. So
a lot of great shows. Tell us what you guys thought in the comments down below, because we definitely want to hear your opinions. And thank you guys so much for watching. I've made it my mission this week to put out a video every single day, and I have. I put out one on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and then you're not seeing a show, which is Cadets' last show of 2023. We're actually going to be doing that on a separate video you guys are going to see after this podcast. So you got to tune in. You got to subscribe. So make sure you subscribe so you get notified when that video drops so you can see it. And honestly, I think that show, I actually had an opportunity to watch that again this week, was a really great show. It was a fantastic show.
If that was to be the end, at least they went out as the Cadets.
Yeah. It's definitely a Cadet show. It definitely is Cadets show. That's all I'm going to say about it. We'll watch it here on the next video. But thank you guys so much. Thank you for joining me. Thanks to Jen for joining us on this video.
Whoa.
Yeah, go ahead.
Like, subscribe. Did we get
that? I already said that.
Oh, did you? Right, okay. British word of the day.
Well, I don't know if we have time. We'll do it on the next video.
All right. I'll make sure
do it on the next
one.
Video.
Okay.
Yeah. We're like an hour and 10 minutes into this video, so we'll probably edit out some of this, so it won't be an hour and 10, but thank you all for watching. We really appreciate it. Please, like I said, make sure you subscribe, you like this video so that you get notified when we have new ones, and also visit the community page. I wonder if I should bring this up on the next, I'll bring it up now. I've updated the merch store, so it's a brand new merch store, lots of brand new merchandise. Let me share real quick, and then I promise we'll end on this.
Buy the two old.
So the new merchandise store, and we have the new Marching Arts logo, all kinds of cool stuff here. Let me just jump to the store, because it takes a while for YouTube to update, which I don't understand why, because I added like 3 different designs. But you can go, and this I need to change. I updated this, so I don't know why it's not updated. But you can search by different products, different T-shirts, organic, men, women, kids and babies. Yes, we still have stuff for kids and babies. Also dogs too. We have some stuff for dogs on here too.
Go on.
But you can go to T-shirts. You have bandanas. Higher, faster, louder. This is my classic shirt here, but with the Marching Arts Network logo. Here's 2 old guys talking about all things marching. This is our podcast one. This is the newest one we have up on the thing here. So definitely check it out. But like I said, we have stuff for kids and babies and all kinds of stuff. Look at that. Look, put your kid in this. Come on, it's a onesie. Let's do it. Let's do it.
I got 2 kids and a dog.
There you go.
I'll tell you what. If this video gets 1,000 likes, I will do the podcast in a onesie.
Oh my gosh!
I don't know if I want to see that.
Can we get an adult size onesie for?
Which is kind of cool. But here's also another one. March on. So that's kind of a thing we say a lot, right? So we would put it on a T-shirt. So hopefully you guys like it. Please make sure that you visit our community page, which is where you can get to the store. Okay, well, that's all we have, really. Now we're really done. But thank you guys very much. We'll see you on the next one. Until then,
march on.
March on.
March on.